Minecraft is a badly optimized game. I think we can all agree on that. And it doesn't just go for single player Minecraft, but also for Minecraft servers. If you use the default Minecraft server settings, it almost doesn't matter how good your server hardware is, you will lag anyway. And there are quite a lot of mods and plugins out there that will claim to significantly improve the performance. The truth is, most of them don't work. Like, not at all. Clear lag, one big lie. Just want to say that straight away. No, the best way to prevent lag on your Minecraft server is optimizing it by changing a bunch of settings inside of YML files. Now, the amount of YML files you can change stuff in all depends on what type of Minecraft server you're running. If you're running a pure vanilla Minecraft server, so no paper, spigot, purpur, or anything like that, then you only have the server.properties file. If you run a spigot server, which is a fork of bukkit, you have bukkit.yml and spigot.yml. And nowadays we have forks of forks of forks of more forks. Right now, the top of the line fork is purpur, which is a fork of pufferfish, which is a fork of paper, which is a fork of spigot, which is a fork of bukkit, which is basically the original plugin-based server that was created out of a vanilla Minecraft server. Now, if you run a purpur server, that means that you have all of these files that you can change and optimize stuff in. And that is why today I'm going to show you how to change settings in all of these files so you can have an extremely optimized Minecraft server. Now, let's say you're not running purpur, but you're running paper or spigot, for example, then you can still follow this tutorial, but then for you, there will just be less files to change stuff in. Now, before we actually start all this configuration, I did not come up with all of these optimization settings myself. All the props go to a GitHub user by the name of You Have Trouble. They published this list and are still keeping it up to date. I will leave a link to the list down below, and while watching this video, you might want to open up that page too and keep them side by side, as we're going to be changing a lot of settings, and some things are just easier to copy directly from that page. And the second big disclaimer is that changing all of these settings will change how Minecraft works. We're going to be optimizing a lot of stuff. And by doing that, we will also change the way that mobs spawn, villagers work, and how chunks load in general. So do keep in mind that some things that work on the vanilla settings of Minecraft might not work anymore. But something that will work is your server, because it should not lag that much anymore after changing all of this. Make sure to subscribe. You would help me out a lot by doing that. The first file we're gonna edit is server.properties. This is the vanilla Minecraft configuration file that you will get with any Minecraft server that you create. Also, because we're gonna change so many settings in this video, I'm not gonna tell you what each one does. I'm just gonna show you what to change. So first, you wanna go to line 18 and make sure that network compression threshold is on 256. Then you wanna go to simulation distance. By default, it will be on 10. But if you want to reduce lag, it's recommended to set it to either 3 or 4. So I'm gonna go for 4 over here. Now, the view distance is also on 10 by default, and that one you want to change to something like 7. Don't set it too low, because it will start to significantly annoy players on your server, as this will limit their render distance. And that's gonna be it for server.properties. Let's click on save content. There we go. First configuration is done. We're gonna go one step higher. The next file we're gonna check out is bukkit.yml, which is essentially a fork of vanilla Minecraft. So inside the bukkit.yml file, we're gonna change some spawn limits. These are all the limits by default. Over here, you wanna change monsters to 20, animals to 5, water animals to 2, water ambient also to 2, water underground creatures to 3, axolotls also to 3, and ambient can just go to 1. Then you also want to change the ticks per settings. Animal spawns can stay the same, monster spawns can go to 10, water spawns can go to 10, water ambient spawns can also go to 10, water underground creature spawns can go to 400, axolotl spawns can go to 400, and ambient spawns can also go to 400. Now, I think that everyone can see that this has significant impact on the game and on your performance. So if you want to do this, it's fully up to you. And that's gonna be it for bukkit.yml. So simply save content and exit out. Now, one step higher in the fork list, we got spigot.yml. So open up the file, and over here you want to make sure that view distance is on default. You also want to set mob spawn range to 3. And down here at entity activation range, we also want to change a bunch of settings. So animals will go to 16, monsters will go to 24, raiders will stay 48, misc will go to 8, water will go to 8, villagers to 16, and flying monsters to 48. Then we're gonna scroll down even further to the entity tracking range and make sure that all the settings are set like this. They are like this by default for me, but if they're different for you, change them to this. Then here we got the tick inactive villagers, and this you want to change to false, because why would we tick something if it's not active? Then you want to look for nerf spawner mobs, and this you want to set to true. Then you want to look for the merge radius, and over here you want to set item to 3.5 and experience to 4.5. You also want to make sure that hopper transfer is on 8, and the hopper check you can also put to 8. And that's gonna be it for spigot.yml. So save content and exit out. Now one fork above Spigot, we got paper-mc. Now the paper-mc file is actually not found over here. What you want to do is go to the top of your Minecraft server directory, then look for the config folder, and inside of there you got two files, paper-global.yml and paper-world-defaults. So let's go to the paper-world-defaults file. The first setting you want to look for is delay chunk unloads by, and you want to make sure it is set to 10 seconds. Then look for the max autosave chunks per tick, and this one you want to set to 8. Then the setting beneath that is prevent moving into unloaded chunks, and this you want to set to true. And after that you want to look for the entity per chunk save limit. Now these are all set to -1, which means unlimited. We are gonna be changing a lot of stuff here, and we're even gonna add some stuff. So these are all the default settings, and these are the settings you want to change it to. Now this is basically to limit entities, because for those who don't know, entities in Minecraft can cause a lot of lag. So make sure to take over these settings. Now something we're also gonna change is the despawn range. Now I actually have to zoom out for this a little bit, so there we go. So these are all the default despawn ranges. Make sure to take a good look at them, because this is what you want to change it to. After doing that, you want to go to the per player mob spawns, and you want to make sure it is on true. And the max entity coalition should go from 8 to 2. The update pathfinding on block update setting, which is a horrible name by the way. Why does it have the word update 2 times? Doesn't matter. Then the update pathfinding on block update setting will go from true to false. The fix climbing, bypassing, cramming rule, what a name, will go from false to true. Then under armor stance you have do coalition entity lookups and tick. Both of these you want to put to false. And then all the way at the bottom of the config where it says tick rates, you want to replace the behavior part with this. And where it says sensor, we're actually gonna add a lot of stuff. So this is it by default, and this is what it should become. Now do keep in mind, you can copy these settings from the GitHub page if you don't want to type. Now you might think we're done, but no, there is a lot more here. So where it says alt item despawn rates, it is on false by default. We're gonna set it to true. And then we're gonna paste in a gigantic list of items. I would highly recommend copying this from the GitHub page if you can. But from this, it's gonna go to this. So these are all the items I just added. This entire list you will need to add. That's a lot. But these are the rates you want to set it to. Now next up, we're gonna look for a redstone implementation. By default, it is set to vanilla. But if you want a better performing algorithm, you can set it to alternate current. Then under the hopper settings, you want to make sure that disable move event is set to false and ignore cooling blocks is set to true. Then here back at the tick rate settings, we're gonna change the mob spawner tick rate to 2. The optimize explosions setting we're gonna enable, and this is very optional, but you can completely disable treasure map generation. Now this of course has an impact on the game, but the generation of a treasure map can be quite resource intensive, believe it or not. So I'm gonna set it to false. And where it says find already discovered, you want to set loot tables to true and villager trade to true as well. Then back under tick rates, we're gonna set the grass spread setting to 2. The container update setting we're gonna also set to 2. And then the last two settings, the non-player arrow despawn rate is gonna be not default but 20. And the creative arrow despawn rate is also going to 20. And those were all the settings for paper-world paper-world-defaults. You can finally save your file and exit out. Now let's go one step higher on the fork list. Next we got pufferfish.yml. So we're simply gonna open it up and we want to look for max loads per projectile. We're gonna set it to 8. Then we're gonna enable DAP. So instead of false, we're gonna set it to true. Then you want to make sure that the max tick frequency is set to 20 and the activation distance mod is set to 7. Then you want to make sure that enable async mob spawning is set to true and enable suffocation optimization is also set to true. Then a little further up again, we got the inactive goal selector throttle. This one you also want to set to true. After that, you want to look for the MISC settings. And here you got disable method profiler. This one you want to make sure is set to true. And that is already gonna be everything for pufferfish.yml. So we're gonna save the content and exit out. And then it's time for the very last step of our adventure. We have come to the top of the fork ladder. It is time for purpur.yml. So open it up and the first setting we're gonna change is use alternate keep alive. This one you want to set to true. Now we're getting to some very specific settings. So here on line 1400, just keep that in mind real quick, you got the zombie settings. And this setting over here is called aggressive towards villager when lagging. We're gonna set this one to false. Then next on line 1600, we got the entities can use portal settings. You also want to put this one to false. Once again, do note this will impact the vanilla game. Then we're gonna go to line 1372 for villager. And then we're gonna go down all the way to where it says lobotomize. This you want to enable. But like it says on the GitHub page, you only want to enable this if you are 100% sure that villagers are causing a lag for you. Otherwise, just keep this disabled. Then on line 700, we got dolphin settings. And under dolphin, we have the disabled treasure searching. This you want to set to true. And then on line 1600 again, we have teleport if outside border. This you want to set to true as well. And believe it or not, we are finally done. Simply click on save content and exit out. And that is gonna be everything I wanted to show you today. I know this video has been hectic. It has been long and we have changed a lot of settings. But from my own experience, these settings will tremendously improve performance on your Minecraft server. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Shout out to you, Have Trouble, for making this optimization list. You have done an amazing job. And then I want to ask you all to subscribe to my channel if you've not done so yet. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.